Hello. This tutorial is to help you understand what's expected for your learning experience plan. I selected one that I think is well written, and I wanted to share it with you so you have a good sense of what your target is for an exemplary paper. Remember, you're going to be using the template. I want you to use the headings in the template. You can rearrange a little bit with the font if you want, but please stick to the headings. So the first heading is objectives and expected student outcomes. Notice in this that the student is sort of just describing in a narrative style where this fits in their curriculum and what they're expecting students to get from it. The second section is about process of learning, so it describes what the students will be doing and how they'll be using the technology, just a simple explanation. Then she moves to the learning standards, and the learning standards are just grabbed from the standards documents, and here she takes about as many as I would expect. Really no more. It's not that necessary to fill it up. And as a matter of fact, in the rubric I mentioned that I will take off points if you have too many standards listed, because you're only trying to list the ones that you really are trying to assess. So please stay focused on doing that. Notice she adds her content area standards. If in this case, New York State learning standards are also listed, so I'm looking for Common Core standards that apply, your content area standards that apply, as well as the ISTE standards, and I'll explain those in class, the technology standards for students. She then goes on to talk about briefly, in a couple of sentences, the criteria for assessment, and she says see attached rubric. So she just sort of explains how students will be graded, and then she spends an extensive time talking about the application, the experience of using the application, how it's important for her discipline, some of the challenges she faces. These things are important for me to hear. She does spend more than I expect, a little bit more time on that than I expect, but it's important for me to have you use that reflection section to give me a good sense of what your thinking is about using the application. Then she finishes up with her rubric, which she attaches. And this is quite extensive. These categories that she picks are tied to the learning standards that she wants to meet. So make sure that your categories are tied to your learning standards. You can take some of the language from the standards and just copy and paste it into your rubric if it's appropriate, and just change it slightly if you need to. So this is what I'm looking for. There's a copy of this in the important documents section on Blackboard, so you can take a look at it if you want. I just don't want there to be any confusion as to what's expected for this particular write-up. As usual, if you have any questions along the way, you can let me know. You're free to submit this to me before it is due for me to review. If you'd like me to take a look at it, I'd be happy to do so. After you've submitted it, I will not take it for revision. You have to submit before the due date.